Like, why does black joy bother some white people? And some other groups, but majority is white people. And not all of you. You know what I'm talking about. You ever notice how the group of black folks, like they come together laughing, dancing, and just vibing, and suddenly it's labeled as too loud, too ghetto, or too much? Jealousy.
I think white people are so triggered by black joy because they have zero control over it. And white people are all about control. And anything they don't get to control and manage and dictate freaks them the hell out.
They don't get to be the leader.
All right, racists, let's talk about your distaste for black joy. Racist America fumes at the sight of happiness, especially when that person smiling is black. It's as if this country specializes in anger Olympics. Being a little too happy disturbs the patriotism. 3 or more laughs in one place is like being investigated by a mall cop. I'm gonna need to see some ID. Because deep down, they believe that pain is the only state that black indigenous people are allowed to live in. Black people start laughing too loud at their cousin's cookout. They throw on some Frankie Beverly. They start dancing with their auntie in a sundress while the ribs are sizzling. Instantly, their lives are in danger. It's like watching a perfect example of a case study on people who have a problem with control. It's like their obsession isn't just with control, it's like with the optics of it as well. They want to be seen as dominant in the space because they seem to disappear when there is black joy. When you throw your graduation cap in the air, surrounded by your entire family in matching t-shirts, they don't see achievement, they see defiance. Because in their minds, success was never black people's storyline. The truth is, black joy is a glitch in the racist lies that they feed themselves. They built a whole myth of superiority that only works if you're miserable, delusional, insecure, jealous, and mediocre. When black people shift the world with their joy and laughter, the racist's entire self-image starts to crack. This is why racists gatekeep golf courses, ban urban dress codes, side-eye loud laughter, and call the cops when the music's just a little too bassy. The unnecessary hate and determination to ruin black people's happiness is a disease, a brain-eating amoeba that siphons the cognition out of America's privileged society. And what hurts the most is that happiness and black joy is more infectious.
They can't stand to see people getting their value from within. Like, you know how many white people have asked why are like, they've literally, I've seen it in the comments, I've seen it in videos of white people saying, black people, like, how do you get your joy? Like, how are you so happy? Like, why, like we know that we've oppressed you for all this time. How do you still stand up and smile and dance? Like, they want us, and that's not to say that they want us to, well, some of them certainly want us to, like, not be happy. But even the ones who do not actively try to make sure we're not happy, they feel like we should be unhappy. And so they ask, why are you so happy? And that's because they themselves have been trained and brought up to think that their happiness comes from external validation. Y'all, that is what it is. Because white culture, white American culture is very consumerist. It is very, you get your value from having the biggest house. You get your value from having the hottest husband and the prettiest woman. You get your value from having the most, the highest paying job. You get your value from having the highest net worth. That is literally how a lot of white Americans define their value, is if I have this external indicator that everyone else can see that says I am worthy. The higher that number on the stock ticker for them, that is the higher their value. And and when that is where your value comes from, you will always look at people who are poor or people who have no money and be like, why are you smiling? And it's just like, because my value does not come from some artificial number on a board that someone else made up. Like, what? That is crazy. But another thing is when you have the mentality of my value comes from things outside of me, you have the mentality that everyone else has that same mentality. And so so then it becomes a whole lot of projection. It becomes a whole lot of projection of, like, I would be insecure if I were in your place, so why aren't you insecure? Like, it's just like, so the projection starts, and it's like, and that makes them mad as well, because they just expect you to think like them, and it's like, absolutely not. Hustle culture is one of the external validation traps. It sure is. And that goes into, y'all don't let me get on my history bucks. Because the Black Panthers, y'all, they were very anti-capitalism, very communist, pro-everyone working.
So I just came across a video of these black kids celebrating prom. And, in the video, they was having fun. They was singing songs, just getting hyped. And then when I went to the comments, it was nothing but them folks talking shit, right? They was saying it was loud, it was ghetto, it was this, it was that. This just points out how, like, for some reason, black joy makes them folks mad. Look at every black fatigue trend that has started, right? Carnival Cruise, it was a group of, seeing black people on boats having fun. Graduation, it was black kids, black boys throwing their caps up, dancing, being proud and just having fun. For some reason, this irks these people nerve, right? It remind me of that Boondocks meme. Nigga, did I catch you having fun? So at the end of the day, bro, do whatever you want to do, man. Have your fun. Do what you're going to do. Either way, they're going to find something negative and nitpick with it, bro. So
I'm going to keep saying this with my whole chest because some people are not deep thinkers. I understand that you're not a critical thinker. This is not for you. It's just not for you. Scroll up. So my point today is, well, not today, but at this moment, like, why does black joy bother some white people? And some other groups, but majority is white people. And not all of you. You know what I'm talking about. You ever notice how the group of black folks, like they come together laughing, dancing, and just vibing, and suddenly it's labeled as too loud, too ghetto, or too much? Jealousy. Jealousy. You know why? Because they couldn't strip that away. And it's surviving. But let's be real. It's not about the volume that's the problem. It's the vibrations. It's the freedom. It's the fact that we can still find joy after centuries of trying to be stripped of who we are. We still make something out of nothing. You understand? See, black joy is like disruptive in certain people. It challenges. And where we're supposed to be broken and angry and silent, it's like loving, living, and celebrating. So it's not just confusion. It's threatening to a certain group of people. Because black joy, for us, is power, is resistance, it's healing, it's ancestral. Of all the things they said we could not do, it's lies. Remember, we were here way before other groups were here. And now our happiness is not a performance. It's reclaiming who we said we always were. So the next time somebody looks uncomfortable with your black joy, remember that you're not the problem. They're just uncomfortable and can't believe that after all this time, we are still celebrating who we are and who we are meant to be and who we are growing to be. So tell me, have you ever felt like your joy made somebody else uncomfortable? Let's talk about it, y'all. To me, I don't give a flying fuck who feels uncomfortable. This is my life, my body, and if you feel uncomfortable, move the fuck away. Right? Because where I was for Black Bike Weekend, we were on the side, I'm not gonna say the grown folks side, but we like our peace. So of course, it was a mix of black and white people. Like, we all around each other. We all talking to each other. You think anybody grabbed their purse because they see bikers in leather? No, they're used to it. They're talking, they're waving, they're like, oh, let me tell me about your bike, blah, 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 blah. These are people talking, not afraid and not jealous. There are some, but we didn't cross any this weekend, okay? But have y'all ever experienced that? Like, you having joy, you having celebration, especially with all the graduates. Did you see those comments talking about black fatigue in the comments of black joy celebrating the college? See, the point that I'm trying to get at is no one who doesn't, how can I say this? If you black, you understand. It comes naturally, and it doesn't matter what state you from. We all have a common denominator of celebrating our blackness, and people can't stand that. People can't stand that. And I'm not just talking about in America. If we go somewhere else, black joy is celebrated different ways, but we still have that common denominator of celebrating of what we achieve regardless of the fact. Okay, I'm gonna get off my soapbox. Anyway, happy Tuesday.
Hello, this is Melanin Mocktail. Welcome. Please subscribe. So, let's get started. So, this is strange where people can tolerate black pain, but they draw a line when it comes to black joy. That is where the discomfort begins because pain fits the story they were told. Struggle fits the stereotype. Suffering keeps the hierarchy intact. But when black people are laughing, dancing, celebrating, building families, graduating, creating culture, just loving themselves, or just living their life unapologetically, suddenly it becomes a problem. And I think we need to talk about this because for centuries, societies created image of black people are supposed to justify racism. The image said black people were inferior, broken, angry, lazy, jealous, uncivilized. That lie became the foundation for feelings of superiority because if one group convinces itself that another group is naturally beneath them, then they can feel elevated without actually doing the internal work to become better people. But here's the problem. Black Joy destroys that lie. It completely breaks the script because when people who were historically oppressed are still able to smile, create beauty, build community, and keep their spirit intact, it exposes something powerful. It proves the system that failed to destroy them. And that reality bothers some people more than they want to admit. That's why a black family enjoying themselves at a cookout can trigger noise complaints. Strange, yeah? That is why a black student dancing at their graduation, that is called ghetto instead of joyful. That is why black hairstyles, black fashion, black slang, black confidence, black culture, they are constantly policed. Because for some people, black happiness feels like defiance, like not because black people are doing anything wrong, but because joy itself becomes a form of resistance. Imagine just people hating on you because you're just happy and you're black. And so this goes deeper than racism alone, and a lot of people today are emotionally empty. They have the cars, they have the houses, gym membership, expensive vacations, a social media image, but internally they are disconnected. They are alone. They feel like empty shells. They are anxious. They are spiritually exhausted. And when they look at black communities where people can stand, struggle into laughter, where people can dance with almost nothing, where families can gather and create joy out of the simple moments, and deep down, there is confusion. Sometimes even envy, because authentic joy cannot be purchased. That's why some societies, they rarely talk about it. Some people have too many comfort but no peace. Meanwhile, black communities, they have developed emotional strength just to survive. Humor became a survival, music became therapy, dance became a release. It's like a therapy. Faith became protection and community became wealth. And that emotional resilience became powerful. So, this does not mean black people don't suffer. Of course, they do. Black communities face real problems, real pain, real economic struggles, real injustices. But the point is, this pain did not get the final word. That's the difference. And I think some people expected generations of oppression to completely destroy black identity and confidence forever. But instead, black culture became one of the most influential cultures on earth. Think about the music, think about the language, the fashion, the creativity, the rhythm. While still struggling, the innovation, the global influence, black people consume. Think about the culture, the language, the music, the fashion, the creativity, the rhythm, the innovation, the global influence. People consume black culture every single day while still struggling to respect black humanity. That contradiction is real, and what's interesting is how quickly black joy gets labeled as too loud, too much, aggressive. A white family celebrating loudly is called fun. A black family doing the exact same thing suddenly becomes a disturbance. That double standard exists for a reason because visible black happiness disrupts the old social order. It challenges the idea that black people are supposed to remain stuck in trauma forever. And honestly, I think that's why certain people become irritated by black confidence. Even public figures, even something as simple as laughter becomes political. Look at how some people reacted to Kamala Harris laughing. Not debating policies, not discussing leadership, just anger over seeing a black woman joyful and confident in public. Why? Because confidence from certain groups is interpreted as arrogance. Joy from certain group is interpreted as rebellion. And that says a lot about society than it does about black people. So, black joy is revolutionary because it refuses spiritual surrender. That's what makes it powerful. Slavery tried to destroy identity, segregation tried to destroy dignity, discrimination tried to destroy opportunity, but despite all that, generations still found ways to celebrate life. That matters because joy says, "You did not break my spirit." And honestly, that might be one of the most powerful statements as a human being can make, especially after centuries of attempts to erase them. That is why black joy should never be minimized. It's not ignorance, it's not denial, it's not pretending problems don't exist. It's survival, it's healing, it's emotional sovereignty. It's the refusal to let suffering become your identity. And maybe that's why it really unsettles some people, because if a group can survive oppression without losing its humanity, that's a strong group. So the illusion cracks, the lie becomes harder to maintain, and suddenly people are forced to confront something deeper. Maybe strength was never about domination. Maybe the true strength is the ability to remain human after everything designed to destroy your humanity. That is the real power. And I think black joy represents exactly that. Not perfection, not immunity from struggle, but resilience. The ability to still laugh, still love, still dance, still dream, and still create and believe in life despite everything. That is not weakness, that is an extraordinary strength. So, no, black joy is not just entertainment. It's not just culture. It's not just trending dances and funny moments online. It's evidence. Evidence that spirit survived. Evidence that identity survived. Evidence that generations of suffering did not fully erase dignity, creativity, and humanity. And that is why some people cannot handle it, because joy becomes proof. And for fellow black people, keep your joy. Guard your joy. Be happy. Yes. So, black joy will continue to exist loudly, proudly, unapologetically. And please subscribe to my YouTube channel and make me a happy black person. Give me joy. Please subscribe. Bye.